Okay, welcome everyone. I'd like to call to order the June 11th, 2025 EAC monthly meeting. And John sent out a copy of the minutes at the beginning of the week. Did everybody get those minutes? Good. Any edits, suggestions, changes, anything in there that? Nope.
You always look at me.
Yeah, I definitely look at you. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes, please?
I'll move.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Okay, public comments, seeing that we have none. We can move on. Project updates. So, we were told, very firmly and by email that we would be involved in the PSA, that's a good story, PSA summer program, undergrad students. And I would email and say, what about it? Oh, yeah, this is happening, that's happening, different things once we get this, blah, blah. So, Sawyer Seidlinger from PA Sustainability reached out to me and said, Jeff, have you heard from Penn State yet? And I said, I have not, but I've been emailing and he's been assuring me. So he contacted me, he says, I talked to him. It's going to happen. You're it. So we're just waiting for some things to happen. I guess things don't happen, as fast as I'd like them to happen or whatever schedule I'm used to. So apparently we are still joining that program and I don't have any reason to believe that we're not joining that program. Okay, let's wait for deer management for a minute. But let's go to Joanna on rain garden update, and that would be your next.
Sure. So the next event is coming up on June 21st, and that is as I dubbed it, the hackathon of going out there and trimming it down. And so that's the first step in managing the Japanese knotweed that's out there. The second step is, unfortunately, with everything I have to look up, is the herbicide, which I have approved through Public Works, and they are working with a professional company to use the one that was recommended by the Audubon Society as well as some others, which is the Aquaneat. And so that will take place approximately about 8 weeks after the hackathon. So you allow it to grow back, but it's going to take a lot of the energy out of it once you do that. Oh, Ken's here. And then, but it's not going to grow as large. So that way, especially if it's anything, I don't think we'll go down this far, but it's by the creek or anything else, it's not gonna be dangling as much over the creek or anything. It's not gonna be as big. You're not gonna have to use as much spray, but that's when you spray it. So that should take care of 90% of it or so in the first year. And then the rest we can do next year through stem injection.
And is Ken aware of, or should you take 30 seconds to describe again your process for
aware of what it is? And
it's what the Conservancy's been doing, cutting it and then spraying it in August, and that's what all the conservancies do.
And I've been working with the town and got them involved, and they're going to have somebody professional come in to make sure it's the right spray and it's done correctly and everything. So good.
Well, I'll be here on the 21st.
Cool.
Whatever. Yeah. I'm sorry, officially sign off, but how is your response to that?
So last I checked, a little bit low. I think I'm going to send out a follow-up I'll give it a couple of weeks, and then I'm also going to reach out to a couple of people individually that I do somewhat personally know and that came to the last one that I've met once or twice and got them a little bit more involved. See if they are able to come, and I might reach out to a couple of people within the community who were not on the original email list, like my boss's daughter, and see if she wants to come out and join me. So
okay, and I think because you are, because you don't want children there,
right?
You limit, your adults and your, let's go do something wonderful for the community type of feel. These are people who want to and swing a mattock.
Right. It's also summertime, so a couple people are out of town. And there's a couple people, because I had to mention, like, there's poison ivy in there, and if people are super allergic to poison ivy, which some people are, I completely understand. Like, yeah, don't come out and expose yourself to poison ivy. It's, I do recommend, by the way, Farmers Defense has the cool sleeves that help block SPF, and they block poison ivy and stuff. Highly recommend those just for working in the yard or if you're all around poison ivy and allergic.
Some of us will just show up.
Yes, I know you will.
Okay, farmer's defense, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, deer management is always right up to sustainability. So with Ken here, and I don't know that there's really much we could say other than, if you don't mind me saying, Ken, that Ken and I did meet and we looked at the message that I crafted for this past Monday's council meeting. That was a letter in which I sent everybody. And I apologize, and I think it's a bit of a foot file that I didn't send it before. So recognizing that, that I did read that letter of support for a stronger response to deer overpopulation. I did run it past Ken, and other than that, is there anything out there, Ken, that I'm missing?
And the only other thing is, and you can fall here or later on, is doing a public speaking in September for public awareness on deer management. I can most likely get the wildlife biologist for the game commission, deer biologist for the game commission to come in and speak to us. Janine's worked with us before. And I think that I would like that to really get kind of pushed, meaning Ross is talking about upgrading what they're doing with deer management. The city is doing a call. You have deer management issues in North Park that's not, they've been doing a hunt there for almost 30 years now. So I think there may well be some public interest beyond just McCandless. And I was thinking about mentioning with Friends of North Park and partnering with them to do so that it's a broader based audience, so to speak. But talking about deer management and deer population doubles every 2 to 3 years and so on. An individual mature deer is eating 8 to 10 pounds of browse a day and things like that people aren't really aware of.
And Ken, you think that, what was the response last time you had, some public outreach on deer overpopulation?
I did one with Friends of North Park, probably about almost like 10 years ago now. And we had virtually no way to do any publicity. Mm-hmm. And so we had a very low turnout.
Okay.
I think that, publicizing it through Northland Library and our township publications and so forth, that we would have a much larger audience.
Yeah, because, since this is heavily supported by the township, they're gonna, we'll have any resources that we need to get this thing out there. So you're thinking, and we're just fast forwarding to the public, that doesn't really matter. It's all the same topic. You're thinking September. You're thinking like one of the rooms in North Park. So actually in North Park.
Depending on what we're looking at when we start looking at things, I can most likely get us the cabin in North Park, which holds a good number of people. If we get bigger than that, maybe even the Rose Barn. But mm-hmm. I think that I can do that. Mm-hmm. There'll probably also be a couple game protectors there for people that want to know hunting laws and stuff. And I'll probably do a little bit of talk because Janine doesn't really talk that much about the ecological devastation. Mm-hmm. And so I usually talk about that a little bit and then throw it open, and the game commission guy, the game wardens, so to speak, are there for anybody's questions and things. Does that sound reasonable, John?
Yeah.
I have a question about McCandless Township and fence heights. I've been looking into maybe fencing in my yard, and the company I hired, they said, McCandless doesn't allow in the backyard a high enough fence to keep the deer out. So I'm throwing that out there. Even something he was referring to as a deer fence, which I never heard the term. I just thought I need a big fence to keep the deer out because I have a bunch of fawns in there again. It's just like, and then once they're born there, they live there, and I can't ever get them out. So.
I literally watched deer stand next to a 4-foot fence and hop it.
Yeah.
They're standing right next to it. I mean, this isn't
Right.
taking a couple of steps. This is just,
Right, well, I have
It's
he-
6 feet in height, it cannot
right.
exceed.
He told me we need at least 8.
Yes.
And then he said that, well, so he's like, well, you can try, but because I even have a downhill, my whole backyard is a downhill. He said it's gotta be 8 feet is the only way it even begins to be effective. So I'm throwing this out there because
what will
for,
work.
yeah,
It's not, you just have to do this with no one knowing you're doing it. Not just get an electric fence like a horse fence from Agway,
I
and then
don't
you,
think do it.
you put it like ankle height and then thigh height. And you put peanut butter on it and they lick it.
God.
All right, where do you?
Well, they never come back. They get zapped one time. It
So-
doesn't kill anything. I mean, I've watched
Okay,
rabbits.
What I'm suggesting is, can we, in the case of something called a deer fence, which apparently is different than a privacy fence, right?
Yeah,
Its intent is in fact to keep deer out of your yard.
yeah,
Could we consider legislation that would allow for a deer fence to
Yeah.
be 8 feet, which is what, he has told me is the only thing that's gonna work, so. Yeah, I mean, frankly, my reasons for wanting to do it, I now have a grandchild.
yeah,
Want to put a play space right where all the fawns are laid every year. And, and I've just got to figure out a way to keep them out. And he's telling me no matter what I do through McCandless, it's not going to work. And yeah, I'm not going to do anything outside the boundaries of what's permitted.
right,
So,
right,
but I find that absurd that the solution to my problem isn't solvable
right, right.
what we allow. And,
Right.
and deer fence, you would know this, it's something different than like a privacy fence, right? I still don't know what it is.
Yeah,
No,
Is it like
lar-
a
a
snow
large-
fence kind of thing, or?
some of the stuff they use now is movable. They'll put it around like 10 acres and then they can move it to another 10 acres. So it's basically a cyclone fence that's in panels.
Oh,
yes,
8 feet tall.
oh, is that what it looks like? I'll be darned. I had no idea.
Yeah, a
So,
lot of
yeah.
it's plastic now because it's much lighter than the metal.
I think I'd rather get the metal. Anyway, but point is, it can.
That's a good-
Put it on the table.
yeah, I can ask John S. about that.
But that black plastic is not as much of an eyesore as the old cyclone fence kind of stuff.
So anyway, so the first, first sort of deer management, leading to the next step was, the first salvo was completed on Monday, where I read that letter of support from the EAC at the council meeting. John, where are you with your messaging?
The article is roughly done. I need a good lead. I need to make sure the flow is good. I have all the stats I need right now. I have some quotes from Ken and from your statements. I don't know if I'll need a council statement or not from either you or Jack potentially.
Happy to add one.
Yeah. So basically I have one long article. And I think the idea is maybe to break it up into a couple ones, but I'm trying to write a long one basically for the magazine format.
Okay. Okay, and we know that Mark sort of put his hand up to
Yeah.
help you along with that. You reached out to him.
I've reached out yet. I think the discussion with him too was like some sort of safety messaging, probably a little
Yeah,
bit later.
yeah,
down the pipe.
good. Please copy me on those emails, okay?
I missed, do you guys have an actual date for the speaker series you're gonna do?
No, I have to talk to Janine, to make sure she's available.
Okay,
Yeah,
but the month would be,
probably September.
okay.
We'd like to do it early September. We're special regulations here, so archery season actually starts 2 weeks earlier here than it does the rest of the state.
Okay,
Okay, so, we wanna help you along with that one, John, and then, move that thing on because we wanna keep sort of, gradually firming up our message till we get to Ken's and then, letting the community know, through these positive messages and the EAC's support that, this is something that we're moving forward with and unanimously. Anything else about deer management?
oh, make sure you do it.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, anything else about the rain garden for Joanna? I didn't throw that out there. Okay, and then next tree program, Bernie, you want to talk a little bit about your our Yeah, we can just do the recap now.
Yeah, I mean, I want to thank everybody on who attended and for, getting the township to agree to let us move it inside.
Yeah,
I thought it went really well.
24 people.
Thank you, Jeff, for standing out in the rain and guiding everybody into the dry part. Yeah, I mean, I thought for sure we'd have nobody with the washout
Mhm.
and was just really surprised by how enthusiastic and educated the people were who were there.
Mhm.
I mean, they just all, were tree lovers, so,
Mhm.
yeah, and I felt because it was so small, that's why I wanted everybody to introduce themselves so that the speaker, who did a great job, Joe,
Mhm.
knew that he was speaking to tree lovers. He didn't have to convince anyone. And I would say that that worked. So,
Mhm.
but I think you'll find some folks who want to help with knotweed and, and I do want to like connect with, I think the whole group of, people we got and with their contact information. Most of them were people from the road pickup, that, the roadside pickup. So that group of McCandless volunteers, I think, are good people who just care about, a lot of these issues. So anyway, but I mean, kudos to you too. The speaker series is kind of your program, right? And so.
Seems like it. I didn't realize that, but I guess it is.
So even Judy did it, and I always
Yeah.
felt like we just came up with topics and maybe
Yeah.
helped with it, right?
I think it's residing where it should reside.
Yeah,
And just like with Ken's deer thing, I want to be, I don't want to just go like this. I want to say, okay, what do you need next? Fully supportive and,
right.
get up there, whatever, do the, the figurehead thing, kick it off with 10 words and then that's it.
Yeah,
So it works. I think it works.
yeah. Well, and again, I thought it was really just, I think the fact that, because you were there with your SO and Joanna was there and Jeff and, I mean, it was great.
Yeah.
You didn't come.
Exceeded my expectations.
Sorry.
No, it's okay, but I mean, in my view, again, I really appreciated the township maybe reluctantly letting us do it inside.
Mhm.
And I just would like to understand that in the future because I've wanted to
I don't think
do
they
other
did.
things.
I just think we just sort of, we were, with regard to that, I think that we weren't really asking directly.
Oh,
Like, I think that we were hemming around with John a little bit, just saying, "Hey, John, please, we have to be a little bit more direct.
okay.
If inclement weather, then, do we have access? Can you please lock it down as opposed to it was,
Right.
you sort of waited till the last day. I just think we learned from that we know, we need to know that,
We have a rain back.
yeah, we have to ask and we have to be official about it.
Okay,
Yeah, I think that's what we learned.
yeah, all right. Maybe you learned that, but now I understand it. Thank you.
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah.
So,
What are your next steps?
well, I think taking a lot of those folks, July, well, I want to talk about July and August and then August, September. So July, August, I do want to schedule meetings, probably at my house or in the backyard with a deer. Unless we can use this facility to have tree, planting meetings. So a lot of those people who attended have demonstrated interest in wanting to be kind of on a planning group. And what I've said like last month is by September, I'll have a final agenda that we can propose for 2026 and then start promoting it. And ideally, John, what I want to do is land dates so that when you go to print your calendar,
Mhm.
we can put those on your calendar.
That would be ideal.
So your calendar deadline is,
About mid-November.
okay, so if I have a schedule ready to go in September, but that's what I see is just like, with the speaker series, like I really want, talk to so many people who want to do things. So if I can kind of have everybody take a month and that's their month and they kind of own what that activity is and help organize it, then to me, that's how we can do this. So, and so, yeah, I'm gonna look for, another 11, whether it's some of us plus a lot of the people on the list, because some of them have been more enthusiastic and wanting to plan things, but just like when you do any event, you don't know how much help somebody's gonna need. And they're not all gonna be events. Some of them are just education events. Anyway, so on that note, just as a follow-up to, next year's calendar, last month I said I talked with, someone I knew at Duquesne Light who does innovations. He set me up, on a call with the government relations and vegetation management people. Feel like, he was probably as surprised as I was about, how, their intent is to remove all of our big trees. I mean, their vegetation management guy scared me. Like, I kept thinking like maybe we all misunderstood what they were doing, but no, he kind of said, no, we have to pull out those oaks and we can't have them fall. And so, they have a program, and we covered this in one of the meetings with the woman who, attended, I'm forgetting her name, but she was on that video call with us on the one meeting. I think you and Joanne were there, but she had said she bought a house and,
Oh, Juliet Delony?
yeah.
Yeah.
But she had said, Duquesne Light came through and decimated her neighborhood. I felt they did that to mine. So as I shared that story with them, they said, well, yeah, that's our goal. We try to convince homeowners if they have any tree that's above a line, anything higher than 20 feet, we offer to prune it, but what we really want to do is take it down so it's not ever a problem. And I'm like, oh my God. So I said to them, so if we're trying to do a whole tree planting initiative and every 4 to 6 years, you're going to come through and convince all the homeowners to get rid of their trees, especially the big maples and oaks. I mean, that is their goal. I said, so we're really working cross purpose. So they agreed to come back, have another meeting on how they could either change the way they do it or figure out how to work with us on, what they want to do is recommend. They have trees they recommend. They give the homeowner $100 voucher, go get this little 20-foot tree.
Yeah.
But that means we will always have a loss of a mature canopy.
Does joining Tree City USA give us any type of leverage at all to say, no, we have protection through this, this affiliation?
I think I just want to, I can tell the guy that I talked to initially, I think his jaw was to the floor when he heard the vegetation management guy talk about this, because I think he didn't think that they were that bad. In fact, he assured me it was probably the contractors being too enthusiastic, and that's what he felt they could fix. And he's supposed to run new products and services, innovative ones for their customers. They consider us as a municipality their customer. So anyway, so they do plan on coming back. I asked that our next meeting be before this, our next month's meeting, so that we can at least hear from them what their thoughts might be. So, but it was disappointing is the best way to say it. Like, but it was also validating. Like we knew this was happening, and they're willing to say, yeah, that's our goal is, and they said they've had so many requests since the storm of people calling them saying, come get my trees. So, I mean, it's almost like it's a lost cause before we start if we can't really get this figured out with them. So anyway, so yeah, that was, I'm hoping, we come and figure things out a little bit better. And then August, September, I really want to promote the Tree Tenders event on October 15th. Joanna, my hope is that what you and I could do is figure out, I think you said the township was willing to underwrite the cost of that.
Yeah.
So that being true, what I'd like to do is offer it to the residents to attend for free, but provided they could do X number of volunteer hours, with us over the next, year. Because if they come in October, could we get them involved in rain garden or tree plantings and things like that we want to schedule? But I'd like to work with you on what's that benefit look like,
Mhm.
like how do we convey-
lure people in?
Yeah, convey, track, lure,
Yes.
right, all of that. So, anyway.
What exactly is the expectation of somebody who goes through that?
Yeah.
That still is not clear to me.
No, it's not. And I think that's where I want to work up what is the
Okay.
benefit of, because the alternative is, or you can pay $60 and attend the 6 hours. You know, and then you don't have to offer 20 volunteer hours to the township next year. Like, so it's kind of an offsite, right? So you either have the money or you know, you pledge some volunteer time, you know, to the programs of the EAC. So that's my thought. But yeah, how you position that without. But I mean, I feel like I've done this before where, you know, people kind of pay their way out of, you know, you don't need to pay if you agree to volunteer for, you know, a couple of events next year. You don't like it?
No, I do. I still, like, becoming a tree tender, I guess I don't really, it
Yeah.
teaches you basics about trees and tree
right.
care, but for the courses they offer all throughout the state, was their goal of coming out of that class? What are
Oh.
you supposed to do after?
Well, so we're offering it to McCandless
But
residents.
yes, I understand that, but in general,
Yeah, that way we'll have a body of knowledge of people who have knowledge to do more with trees. And yeah, ideally, we have them planting trees and they get involved in all of next year's programs. And ideally, they just become, you know, our version of a tree expert. But I want them to, I mean, my hope is, again, we offer 1 or 2 tree programs a year. You know, the tree tender training so that we get an educated resident population who understands what they should and should not be doing with trees.
it's okay. Thank you.
So I would say that's more it. I mean, I'm trying to. get-
Mainly for the education of our, yeah, that's a great goal.
Yeah.
Did you get a chance to touch base with my friend from Hampton EAC?
No, I haven't reached out. But you sent me an email on that, right? Yeah. This has
Yeah,
been-
because when you were talking about with tree sale and things like that,
Yeah,
you two should get together on that stuff.
I know, and I don't know why I didn't think that was my next step, but I guess it was. So I'll look at what you sent, Ken, and make sure I do follow up. It has been a really crazy month. Anyway,
Newborn and all, yeah.
hmm?
With a new one, yes.
Well, not that, just work. I mean, I don't know if you heard, you know, we're came to agreement with China and rare earths, so, you know, maybe it's not as bad, but yeah, it's been bad. Anyway, I'll call that it on my update. I feel like there were other things, other people I talked to, and yeah, I feel like I'm not gonna be able to do a subcommittee meeting, and I think part of it is that I had wanted to hold it like at a park or somewhere outdoors, and again, I just, I wanna use like the township resources, but I feel like the township, when I reached out after the last, you know, meeting, John and Diana, and said, hey, yeah, they said, let's get together and talk about this. I sent an email, but they were non-responsive. So-
I'll get back with them because I know they wanted to.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's,
I know John S. is pretty busy. In fact, I
Yeah.
don't see him that often.
no, I know. And that's why I just thought, well, if they're not gonna respond, then, you know, I gotta figure out something else. So, or maybe you and I just figure out where I can hold the subcommittee meetings.
We can figure something out. We do have a lot of facilities that aren't officially for rent, but if we figure something out, we can do something with it, right?
Okay, yeah, well, then maybe I'll work with you on getting those scheduled, because I want to send that big list I have, you know, invitations to, you know, officially join, the planning committee. Okay. All right, good.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay, anything else for Bernie?
Yeah, I have a question. Sorry, this is going back a little bit. My microphone wasn't working. So when you were talking about the folks that are talking about like cutting the trees down and stuff like that, do we have a plan on that side of things as well? Because obviously we have stronger storms coming through. We have situations where, you know, school was canceled for 3 of the 5 days of the week because of how many trees were down and power lines were down and things like that. Are we taking that into account with our planning and the stuff that we want to do moving forward?
yeah, we are, and that was the conversation at Duquesne Light. I mean, I think the challenge is they have a single interest, which is, you know, to make sure everybody has power. And it's not, based on what I hear about their management plan, it is not in balance with our interest of you know, we want a healthy tree canopy. So there is a way, and we're gonna have to find it. As to
Okay,
what-
so we don't have a plan for it right now, though. We don't know how we can balance having a healthy canopy and also allowing us to continually have power when we have these terrible storms.
Yeah,
We
they have-
did a planting guide several years ago to encourage people like over McCandless Crossing, they plant red oaks underneath the power lines.
Yeah, horrible.
So they're trying to give homeowners some idea of how they can have nice plantings out there, but not be getting in the way of the utilities and things.
Right. I think it's probably something that we want to make sure that we are also
Yeah.
planning and including in the plan. So that way, if this kind of stuff comes up, we can say, aha, yes, that's important too. Here's our solution to it. Right. I think that'll be a
Yeah.
really valuable piece.
And I do think, you know, whereas they want to kind of never see an oak or a maple anywhere near the power line, I think that question of how do we guide, you know, our residents into, you know, where they could do it. But to your point, their website has lots of disinformation. You know, and I had read it all before I met with them, and it's similar to our same guidelines. So, I mean, there is a right way to do it. But the notion of an oak must die if it's, you know, within, you know, 60, 40 feet of a power line. I mean, it's just, there's got to be a balance point to that.
Yeah. Having done tree work and storm damage,
Mhm.
there's a reason why they want them back.
Yeah.
When you're dealing with 50,000 volt lines and
Right.
dead trees laying across them, it's
Yep.
less than fun.
Yeah, and I guess McCandless came through and they just cut one of the oaks across the street from me, for, I think, paving the street. Would that be right?
I'm not entirely sure of that, but it sounds like in certain circumstances, they might have done that, yeah.
Yeah, I just noticed that, because I usually park my car under that tree, so when it's really too hot. So, anyway, but no, they just kind of, somebody cut the whole side of it. And McCandless had said, we're gonna pave on your street. So they were gonna come and take anything, I guess, within the boundaries. That sound right? Does McCandless do that?
I do not know.
You don't know? Yeah.
Sorry.
Anyway, somebody, you know, yeah, I don't know who it was because I wasn't there when it happened, but yeah.
We're
Depends
not,
on right of way on sometimes.
we're not beginning paving until July, I think, until after the 4th.
I
Now,
know that street's gonna get paved.
maybe it's
Yeah.
prep work. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it is, because we were told they put in storm drains and they've been working on it all year.
Do we know, does the
Sorry.
town
Right.
have any control over utility lines at all? Like regulating that they
Right.
should be buried? Like, is that something the town can pass an
Burying
ordinance for or anything?
is a mess.
It's hard to do.
It is hard to do, but I mean, if we never start, it'll never happen. I'm asking if the town, like, is that just totally up to the power company? Or can the town say, this is what's got to start happening and in 10 years, this
So-
is what we want?
When we moved into our house a couple of years ago, we actually called the power company to ask about that because we're one of a few select houses on our street where it is above ground. They said to do our little section, which connected to 4 houses, it would have been $20,000, and that was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But based off that, since I, as a customer, have the ability to, if I had $20,000 to pay them to do that, I would imagine a municipality, if they had money, would potentially have that ability to ask for it.
Yeah, we were on Grandview and we were always trying to get Grandview Avenue power lines. And it was, you know, hundreds of millions at a certain point for
It's-
the 2-mile stretch.
It was the utilities here in McCandless. Like I'm on Penn Power, which is along Ingomar Road, and you see how far it is between the poles. That's because that's under a rural transmission. When you get into Duquesne Light, when you get into my neighbor's house and using Duquesne Light, their poles are much closer together. But they're always going to want a string from pole to pole rather than going underground. It's just much less expensive for them to do it that way. So generally, when they're clearing lines, they don't want, you know, a big tree to be able to come down across the lines. And so that's the issue you get into is big trees within 50 feet of a power line, they're going to get pruned pretty heavily.
I get why they would want that. We want there to be trees. So, you know what I
And
mean?
that's what
Like,
we don't know the balance yet, but we're gonna look for it, Matt.
It's a tough balance.
It is a real tough balance. I get all of it, so. Cause yeah, if we lose power, we're all set, so yeah. Anyway, sorry, Jeff, I rambled there.
No, quite all right, quite all right. It's a priority. Okay, anything else? Okay, well, we can move, community outreach, we can move past, the Tree Pittsburgh recap, which we just did. We can move past the speaker series, which we have already discussed. I want to, again, I'm going to table Bird Tom PA membership if it's okay. I have facts on that. I just don't think it's a priority for this meeting, and I'll put together some, maybe a little PowerPoint as best I can for another meeting that we have a little bit more time. But I think there's a couple other things we need to discuss this meeting, so I'm going to table that. The one thing I'll hold off on that for 1 second. Let's go to open initiatives. And let's flip this a little bit, because I think one of the most important things we need to discuss tonight is the junior EAC member. I think we need to sort of weigh in on, how that went this year, and I'm going to let Matt lead it, how it went, this year, and how we think it should go, and if we think we can accomplish that.
well, let's start by hearing from our junior EAC member. Oh, yeah, so that's how it went this year. We had, we had very few applicants, and we wound up with somebody who was unavailable for whatever reason. I don't know the reasons. I know that there were occasionally emails saying that there were other commitments and things like that that didn't allow him to attend the meetings. He did attend a couple of events, was at a meeting or two, but in my opinion, we're not really getting anything out of this, nor are we really giving anything to the person who is the junior EAC member. We had a little bit of this problem the first year. This is the second year for those that aren't aware. The first year we had a little bit of this problem, but not nearly to the extent that we did this year. We tried to solidify the program. More documents were created, more guidance was given, things along those lines to try to make it a little easier for that student. That clearly did not solve the problem. So I think that either there needs to be a major change to the way that we do this, or our expectations from that student, or the program needs to end. So I open that to the discussion, or I open that discussion to all of you.
Anybody want to kick it off?
The only thing I'll say is it seems to me that the students that are doing that, it's so that they can put it on their resume for college applications. I'm not sure that there's any other rationale for it, but that's just my very limited exposure to it.
So it's, and I would agree with that. I mean, I think this past years, he achieved his goal, but we didn't achieve any goals in return. Because it is on the resume, that's going to happen. So, I mean, I like the program. I like the concept of it, of us having some embedded person in the schools to get a message out. And I think that, the one we had last year, Archie, she spoke of that. I think that she led us to believe that was the case, and that was something that had probability of happening. So it would be the right candidate. Maybe it's the right candidate or no candidate. I mean, I think we all felt very mediocre about this last candidate, and just there were some red flags going up that I'm going to devote everything to this, and you were like, whoa, school comes first. So I think we saw a few red flags that might have. He might not have been the candidate if we had somebody else, certainly, just a little bit stronger, but.
What is our current target grade /age?
High school,
Like,
senior high, 11, 12.
Okay, 11 or 12, okay. Because I wonder, being a person who was on a youth town thing back when I was in high school, I was targeted for that because of it wasn't just out there to apply to. It was also, I was targeted because of other activities that I was in. And I wonder if when we put it out, I don't know if we just put it out to the school or if we targeted like the scouting programs. And we were trying to find somebody who already has an interest in that environmental, they already have an interest in like volunteerism. And we go through more targeted, like going after like an Eagle Scout or something like that would be more beneficial to us.
Or they just started a sustainability program in school, like
Okay.
somebody who actually is excited about that.
So we did reach out to the teachers that we had connections with so there were groups that had done volunteer work with us. I mean, this particular candidate did have a particular interest in birds and bird migration and things along those lines. So we did reach the problem was we had one applicant. I mean, that's what it comes down to, right? And so we didn't have a choice, and we just went with this one applicant. So increasing the number of applicants, I think, would definitely be valuable. My one thought, Jeff, as far as what you were saying, like having somebody in the schools, the one thing that we have to remember with that is this is not necessarily a person. They're going to have access to more students than we are, but they may have access to their friend group, and that is the end of the story, right? They are not necessarily getting the word out to the entire school. They're not getting on the announcements. They're not whatever. Like our teacher connections are touching more students and getting more information out than I think an individual student would be.
I would almost propose, so I personally think it's a really great program. It's really valuable as a student to get experiences on part of a committee, but perhaps we tell them that part of what it means to be on this committee is to take back and to maybe talk at an assembly or do some type of outreach for their peers. And we can give them some type of information, have them develop some pamphlets or some type of information that can go on our website as well, but that they'd also share with the students at the school.
Yeah,
we've
definitely talked about that in a casual way, right? In that, like, this is kind of part of the reason that we want a junior EAC member. Getting them to be able to speak at an assembly or stuff like that, that I feel like we need to have a better connection to the school for that. Because I don't know that a student, like, speaking personally when I was a student and when I was a teacher, like a student can't just be like, hi, I'd like to give an assembly now, please, right? Like that's something that we would have to
We would
work with
prearrange.
teachers to orchestrate and then find a way for them to have a voice at that thing. So I'm not saying that's impossible. And certainly maybe that is, maybe instead of saying, hey, you have to come up with a project idea, it's, hey, you have to come up with a presentation that you're going to give to your school and we're going to get in touch with them to orchestrate.
If their project is maybe for Earth Month, they have to help come up with a concept for an Earth Month project for their school and within the community. Something like that could be really beneficial.
Possibly.
Thought on that, but good
But
choice.
listing during.
I was just going to mention that we got lucky this year with the junior town council applicants and got about 7. Of course, one of them was our current junior EAC member, so we could probably leave them out of the picture for next year. But if we're allowed to, perhaps we could just use that pool for secondary interviews for a junior member next year and see if there's someone who's interested.
It wouldn't hurt.
Yeah.
If they're interested in it, yeah, I think that I want to say we did reach out to those applicants to see if they were interested or something, or maybe we reached out to the applicants from the year before.
So the year before, we got like 4 applicants. I think 2
Okay.
of them, at least one of them became the junior council member, actually.
Yeah.
I think we had trouble finding. Yeah.
She was in I get the local rag and she's in everything. I mean, I can't think what her name is, but you remember her, Matt.
Yeah.
Hey, Matt, so there's a sustainability class or something or curriculum or something you were saying?
Yeah, well, Matt reported a while back,
Yeah.
a year or 2 ago that the high school was starting a sustainability
Okay,
program.
so sustainability program.
Are you talking about the
Environmental
AP
class.
Environmental Science class?
Yeah,
Yeah. There's an AP Environmental Science class that started this year, was its first year.
So if one of the requirements could be just that this person presents the EAC concept or what they've learned or what we try to accomplish or something, and you're not going to get in front of the whole school, but maybe they get in front of this class for a 15-minute presentation on what the Environmental Advisory Committee is in McCandless.
Yeah, it's a great idea. I think unfortunately the teacher for that course is not super responsive. So I haven't had a chance to interact with her very much. I've sent a lot of emails to her. I get a lot of response from National Honor Society and the Interact Club. And there's one other group that gets back to me, but she barely ever responds. So if I can somehow form a relationship there and actually get in contact with her, yeah, I think that's a great idea. It sounds to me, and please correct me if I'm wrong, that the majority feel that this is something we should at least try one more time, explore options for, and do in 2026. Does that sound correct?
I agree with that.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So if that being the case, I will start investigating. I'll take all of these ideas as well as try to come up with a couple of others too. If anybody else is super interested in brainstorming, just email me and let me know. And I'll try to put together a thing. But I think we want to get the applications. Well, the application is always up now, right, John? It's on the website perpetually, I think.
I want to say it is, yeah, I'll check back to make sure if there's a page under junior member under ESC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll just make sure that gets updated with the, whatever the current information is going to be for next year, and make sure that we get our deadlines updated and everything like that.
I will also say we should reach out to all the individuals who came to the roadside cleanup who were students of the right age, because several of them were expressing very strong interest in being involved with our group.
Same with
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
Rainforest,
Yeah.
Rain Garden the first time.
So you have noticed,
And they were,
between the two events,
Yeah.
I mean, why don't
Yeah.
we recruit
We
somebody?
easily could. There were
Yeah.
people who were very passionate and who seemed like it's something they would.
Can we change that?
Is it
Can we
possible, Jenny?
recruit instead of like have them apply? Recruit an active person to do it, not just like.
I mean, there's really no official rules governing a junior position as far as I know. I want to go back and see if we had some sort of resolution, but if we just want to take on someone who's interested as
Yeah.
generally a member of the public who's a volunteer and participates,
Yeah.
there's nothing that says we can't do that.
Even if we just sent an email to those who were here saying, just
Yeah.
Right.
there will be an opening if you're interested. feel free
So
to-"
let's talk about, let's be realistic about that. Do we have the emails? We do.
Yeah.
Yes, we
Can
have their.
we identify those emails as being students? We
Yeah.
can.
We have a separate list of that.
Right.
We collected. It's a student specific.
Okay, how would you like us to craft a message, or how would you proceed with that?
That might be part of Matt's brainstorming that
Yeah.
he's gonna be.
Okay,
doing
Matt,
too.
brainstorming?
Yeah, that's fine. I can put together some language for that. I think it's going to be fairly straightforward, but I guess I would prefer to keep it an application type thing right now, just because I would like to, I don't know like there may be a student who's like, I'd love to do that. And I don't know anything about that student, right? The application gives us that background information. And if we get more than one, it gives us like something to work off of and rather than just the interview. So my thought is to keep it as an application for now. But if we get my hope is that we get let's say we get 10 applications this year, right? Like I feel like I'm asking for too much, but let's say we do, right? And let's say that obviously we only accept one of those. 5 of them are seniors, so they're gone. We've got that group of people to pull from again next year, right? So if we can kind of build up and continuously go back to people and say, hey, this thing is, because that's what Archie applied for the council member position and she didn't get it. And then she applied for it again the next year, right? So maybe there's there's people who are interested and we can build off of that, and I don't know, something along those lines. But I'll put together some language for a message that we could send out.
Why not just with these people that are interested, asking them to apply?
That's what I
Yes,
was
yes,
thinking.
absolutely,
Notify
100%.
them
Yes.
that there's an application open.
I agree 100% on that. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, good. Yeah, it's a great idea. We should not miss that opportunity because it is it's just sitting there for us. So, okay.
Thanks, everybody.
Anything else from Matt on that one or thoughts on that? It's important. Okay. Back to open initiatives. Did you have something, Bernie, that was related or?
Well, on the open side, I was trying to find a message. Again, I've just been so busy this week, but I think on Monday, Ellen, right?
Oh, yeah,
She sent me a message about something that was gonna be at council having to do with trees.
we're gonna get to that.
Oh,
We're gonna
okay,
get to,
all right,
yeah, we're gonna
good,
get to that
We'll get
through
there.
next thing.
good, and then,
Absolutely.
all right,
Yeah, got it.
and so is this open floor or is this just, you have an agenda?
Oh, no, we're gonna talk about that.
It's gonna be part of.
Yeah, Nick's gonna bring it up and
number
we're
eight.
gonna talk about it. That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm trying to skip through things to get to that.
So if it's still open, can I just say one thing about air quality because of the Canadian wildfires? So there's an app called Purple Air. And what I show you right now on Purple Air, this is the town of McCandless. And this is, the rest of, the country and the world. And so there's only one house in McCandless that's doing citizen science and reporting, about, this is both indoor and outdoor air quality is what this represents. So when it's purple is when it's bad. When it's green, it's good. But I keep thinking like, is there a way for us to do something more with getting more people involved with, having air monitors so that, I don't know, we could raise awareness on, air quality.
With the official air quality, they used to have a whole bunch of stations they measured at. And about probably almost 20 years ago now, they've reduced that to 3, right by the Clairton Coke plant, right by the,
Right, but that's why this exists.
right by where the buses sit at the point between trips and so we always had really bad air quality because of the 3 places they chose to measure it.
Yeah, but I'm pointing out on, as an environmental awareness issue, like the note of air quality matters and even if we did something like there is a cost to participate in this, you have to buy the monitor. But even if we put one here at Town Hall, on the outside of the building, and then everybody would say, that's the official McCandless, air quality indicator.
It'd be good too, since there's more activity there. Heavy
What?
breathing. Yeah, if you just put it.
They have a weather station there now also.
So do they?
Yeah, but I think, something like that where we have more of a participation in kind of, and again, this is cloud-based, or crowdsourced, data, and it's global, and it's, so they're all over the world, and it's just, organizations, like I know CMU have a bunch, in some of their labs, you can do them indoor or outdoor. Anyway, so I just want to throw it out there as a.
Well, can we somehow, work on this at another time? Maybe you could send us the link to this and we can research it and move forward with it.
Yep, I
Okay.
think it's relevant today because this is our best air
Absolutely.
quality in a week.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Okay, so open initiatives, invasive species education expansion, anything on that, Joanna?
I think the first thing I'm gonna do is everything I'm doing with knotweed, and then as we move into other things. I was talking to Brad from Public Works, and I'm gonna start working on Canva and typing up some like best practices, identification type guides, just for Public Works, just to have as a quick reference, so they don't have to go and like dig through the research. It's like kind of there at their fingertips to be able to know
Oh, nice.
what to do. Like, if you're looking at Devon Park and you're like, it's full of knotweed, what do we need to do? When do we need to do it? What's that timeline look like? What do I need to use? It's all right there in an easy to read type pamphlet, or I don't know. I'll work on it eventually. So that's my first step. Other than that, I might have a couple other things that come to mind as I'm looking to see how different things work and where to educate people. And right now it's just a bunch of ideas.
Well, and you did the tips last month and they did great links on there. And so I thought that was a, really strong tip. So that was also a good step forward. Okay, okay, EAC Park Walks. I put that on there because since you're back, and you are a bit of an expert on Potter Park, if you think about EAC Park Walks, Vincentian, we don't necessarily need to do.
Yeah.
Here, we don't need to do, although there's a little stream here and we could take 5 minutes and, if a meeting, whatever, we could meet here 10 minutes before at 7:15 one of these times,
Yeah.
and take a walk down there and we could do that. So that, then we know, then we go to Potter and we go to Vestal and we go to Wall. And I think, I would be interested if you could lead us at a Potter.
I'd love that. I'd love to show you guys the new land too.
Yeah,
That would be really cool.
okay,
I'm gonna be walking it Friday morning with Jack.
okay.
See,
good.
if you're interested.
It might be a tough one for me, but yeah, so, but why don't we make it? Because Jack and I just did the Wall Park, the Branch Trail again, which is a fascinating trail. It's a great trail.
It's
0.93 miles. It's a
a
great
nice
trail.
trail.
So could you throw out some dates to everybody? Maybe we can get together on a Saturday morning or something like that, or whatever that is, and whoever can
Yeah.
join can join, but we should at least put a step forward. Since it was proposed that we have these walks on a property that we sort of purchased,
Yeah.
will purchase, and we'll just move forward on that.
Do we want to look at like the next month or so here?
Yeah.
Or are we all
Just start, I mean,
around?
and then you go for, what most people can do, and we know we won't get 100%, but people will join who can join.
Who's around next Saturday,
When you say next, what date?
the 21st?
Well, that's the, hackathon.
I'm
Oh.
guessing that date.
That's hackathon.
I mean, we could do it like, if it doesn't take too long, it's one of those things like maybe like early afternoon we could do.
Yeah.
I don't think,
Okay,
so that could work.
so just throw out your open days.
Yeah,
Throw out your open.
I
days.
could do the 21st.
I could just,
You're throwing out your open.
Take
days.
22nd I can do
I'm not kidding.
in the morning or the afternoon, probably, but that's my mom's birthday too, so she would probably be
Mhm.
upset if I didn't get her cake, cause I'm
Mhm.
walking around the woods.
Boy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It was late because I was trying to get cupcakes for Joanne. They
no,
couldn't.
but I've had too many cakes this week. We had,
Good, sorry.
Other than that, the weekend of July the 4th, I'm around, but that's like
That's a holiday.
holiday weekend, so that's kind of a bust. Other than that, the 12th or the 13th.
July 12th or 13th?
Yeah.
Okay, why don't we try for July 12th or 13th? Start with that.
Yeah.
Start with that. Families are invited. Everybody's invited.
Good, I want to take some photos for social media too, so
Okay, that'd be great.
video.
Their festivals.
Okay.
And once we firm that date up, I'll let Abby know too.
Okay. Do you want to shoot for like, I don't know, like morning or afternoon?
Morning's
people,
much
right?
better in the summer.
9, 10,
9.
9
Mhm.
on the 12th?
Oh, this is happening.
Cool. Well, let's put it in.
Which park are you gonna walk?
Potters.
Okay, so you're gonna start with the 12th at 9 AM.
This would be the main entrance or?
Yeah, we can do the main, and then if we want to do the main part of the park first, and then drive up to the land that we just bought.
You can walk up, it's
You
down.
can walk it to you.
Yeah, and I mean, that might only be an hour, right?
Yeah.
So we could just drive,
Yeah, we can just do,
we
yeah.
could just go right over to Branch Trail, which is
Brant
4 minutes away.
and Vestal are both super close.
Right. Okay, so we can maybe block out
Yeah.
9 to 12 on that day and see 3 parks.
Yeah.
that'd be awesome.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Sounds strong.
Yeah.
Okay,
Let's do it.
You having a barbecue at your place afterwards?
well, I'll tell you. It's firming up to be sort of fun.
It'd be awesome.
Okay, great. Everybody check on that. I'll probably just send out an email reminding everybody July 12th at 9 AM, and get sort of a show of hands, make sure everybody can, because if we start getting, oh, that's a bad, oh boy, no, there's only 2 of us, then we'll move on from there. Okay, so let's move on then to walk in the park, blah, blah, blah. Now we're gonna go to July McMail tips, and I'm going to segue right into something that John B sent us, and that was from Franklin Park. And it was a message regarding energy audits. And if anybody got a chance to look at that, I thought that was really valuable and really interesting. So, you know, I look at that and I say, you know, did everybody else feel like that had value? Is that something maybe we can sort of, you know, they invited us to use it. And we just sort of, you know, maybe bring it down to the level of, you know, acceptability in your, you know, in your McMail and, you know, use the links and all that kind of stuff and send it off.
Yeah, a guest article, call it.
I think that's good for the town, you know, the residents to know that that's available
Yeah,
and to check that. I mean, and that goes with all of our goals on what we're trying to do. I mean, so I think that fits perfectly.
Yeah.
okay.
Surprise.
Okay, was there any other message that we needed to get out before that? Are we missing an opportunity to get we just did, you know, we just talked about deer. We don't really have a deer message. John's gonna come out with a big one in the, you know, in the crier. We did invasive species. We've done a lot of other things.
Historically, our July has been a blend of different things ranging from fireworks to tick awareness, sustainable living tips, water pollution. So this
Okay,
fits right in with just the random July topics.
okay, good. Well, I'm gonna take this one on. And John, you and I will work to get it to a point where it looks like, well, I don't know if you can put the whole article, but we'll talk about it.
I'm gonna go look at it again, see the word count, see what we can do with it.
Yeah, it was a nice article. I mean, there were some graphics in there and everything, so, you know, maybe we can cut it down, but I thought they did a great job with it. Okay. Next up is Garden in the Park event on July 26th. Do we, as a committee, now nobody's committed to doing anything. I'm just gonna say as a committee, because Ken and I will probably go down or something. I live, you know, 0.4 miles from it. So, you know, do we want to participate in Garden in the Park? Can I go back to them and say that we are interested, the EAC is interested in participating in Garden in the Park?
Might as well.
Okay, good.
I think they count on us every year, right?
They sort of do now.
What
And you
time
get
is the
free
event?
Penn State ice cream.
Yes.
Yeah.
What time?
And you'll hear Ken talk about the Penn State ice cream for 3
I
hours.
mean,
So nobody should
That
miss
sounds like a
that.
great event.
not a bad gig.
What time is it?
It's like 9 to 11 or 9 to 12 or
I'm
something,
gonna-
or 9 to 1.
Sort on my phone.
But you just
Say what?
sort of take turns.
Yeah. you guys could-
I ran into you last year.
Right at the ice
Hey,
cream.
That's right, you did.
Yes.
Was it
And
a?
so did Mark, and so did Bernie swung by.
That
That's
was a
right.
really neat event.
Yeah. Okay, good. So we'll be able to man that then. Okay.
We should get it.
Good. I will respond back to that person who Ken knows the name and I forget the name, that we will be responding, or we will be participating. Next up, not on the agenda is, as you've seen in McMail or on the website, Abby is still soliciting residents for the McCandless 175th Anniversary Committee. I'm gonna not put my hand up for this one. I think I'm on enough committees, the Parks, and, you know, Comprehensive Plan Committee. I'm gonna actually be around next Thursday for the open air event. And Jack and I have a booth and we're gonna try to answer questions about, you know, what's happening, everything. I think I put my hand up enough. Think about it. Nobody has to say anything, you know, but if anybody has interest in being in that small group about the 175th anniversary, know that opportunity is out there. Okay? And I think it's actually ends on, Nick. It was in this past Monday's meeting.
Next week's thing out there.
No, Abby is gonna close.
Oh,
that.
for the.
June
Yeah.
15th,
What is it?
June 15th.
Okay, which is Sunday.
Yeah.
Couple days, yeah.
Can I just say, I was hoping somebody, I thought you were gonna be on the committee or somebody would, but, and mainly because, yeah, I told them I'm fully loaded and couldn't do it either.
Yeah.
But I feel like the coordination of what we're all doing with what's gonna happen there, unless, it's John. Are you on the committee as a staff member?
No.
Hard. I mean, so I find it problematic, like, because I saw the stuff, at least the tree stuff integrating into, their whole calendar of events for the year, even though I know it's a singular day of the celebration.
Well,
Something
I'd
that
tell you what.
fits in with two things that we've just been talking about is we have that output of our old trees in McCandless that Jeff and I talked about briefly. And so two parts to that. One is when we're doing a walk in the park, we really need to do a walk where we go check out these trees. That's something that I think would be worthwhile for us to do, but that's also part of the 175th anniversary, so they kind of commingle with the two of them. So just throwing that out there as to how we want to approach finding those trees and identifying them.
Mhm.
And also
Because
that's being part of the 175th anniversary.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying, is I saw that being part of the whole, like,
Yeah.
we respect and honor trees, we want them to age nicely in our community.
Put it this way.
It's part of our
If
message.
I could join this group, in a way that it benefits the EAC and does not commit me to fundraising and meetings about, like on a weekly basis and everything. I mean, I'll explore it, but I have to be I have to be cautious here about the time that I commit to this thing. I'm certain
And
that
that's why I don't want to get involved.
I'm starting to be a full-time volunteer for, the community and it's messing up my retirement. So, my play dates. So, I will thoughtfully consider it.
Yeah, I don't want to push you into it.
No, really? I didn't get that feeling.
No, I mean, there's others that are on the table.
We'll do the best we can and I'll end up doing the right thing. So,
Can we
Some-
could we just offer like our consultancy? Could we just be in touch via email with them? You know what I mean? Like if they have questions or here's our thoughts, like can we just send it to them?
I like that.
That's what I had offered to do that, and but it sounded like it was gonna be a tight planning group and whoever's in the room is in the room.
Our contribution to it can be, with with our centennial trees. And coming up with how people can do a walk on that or whatever. That can be our contribution to that, but we need
No,
to
I have a
figure out
lot.
how to do that first.
Well, I see a planting, I mean, I see a lot of other things that I wanna do with it,
Yeah.
but,
okay, we'll get representative some way. Matt, that's a good compromise. I like that. Okay. Maybe an adjunct membership to the committee.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Next up is, I'm sorry, Bernie.
I was gonna say, I'd tag team that adjunct role with you.
Okay, good.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
where we didn't have to, yeah.
Okay, let me write that word down because that's sort of a fun word. Okay. John, I heard that there is going to be a dedicated, did I hear this? A dedicated, with waste management, McCandless is going to have some type of dedicated line or helpline or something like that or whatever?
So yeah, we found out early last week that there is going to be like an online hub specifically for McCandless, since we have basically our own funny contract that's not like the other ones in the North Hills. So that does exist. We're discussing one sticking point with them right now related to the extra bag disposal. I don't know if you guys have ever run across that. Okay, yeah. So basically, it used to be up to three bags were considered a free bulk item, along with a list of other things. And now they're saying, actually, it's $6 a bag, because they don't consider that a bulk item. So we're the only place in the North Hills really that offers extra bags. They really want people to buy a larger part, essentially. So we're trying to make sure that that is an option on there to actually schedule a bag. Because right now, the only way to do it is call through their line, and they seem to have fewer customer service reps than ever now. So people are having a really hard time getting through. So this hub exists. We're trying to work it out before publicizing it, though.
So the hub would be for what purpose?
Essentially, certain requests, if you want to schedule bulk items, extra bulk items, cart repair, or to miss pickup.
Yeah, I tried prepaying for the year
Mhm.
and getting,
That was that was a little tricky earlier this year too, but we're trying to figure that out now.
yeah, and so it didn't happen. And, I always prepay
Yeah, for the
anyway.
discount, yeah.
Well, no, I've never gotten a discount. I didn't know it existed. I prepay, so when I call them and say, I have a bulk item, and they say, well, if you don't give us $5, we're not picking it up, so.
Yes, they
I
want
would-
prepayment for those. types of
Right,
bulk
so I
items,
would
yeah.
have like, $40 in surplus, so that if ever I had that,
Oh.
so
Mm.
I always had but my point is, that's why I could never qualify for the prepay annually, because I was always already ahead. So anyway, but I tried getting it this year. Now they're yelling at me saying, anyway, but yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
if you do
I,
have a problem with them, let us know too, because we
Yeah,
do, we do spend a lot of
I
time.
have been calling you guys for months about it. So yeah,
Okay, so you're talking to Debbie about that?
yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, but that's my point, is I can't, no matter what, I can never quite get it right with them. So, but yeah. Anyway. Enough about me.
Okay, well, this is a burning meeting apparently, but.
Trying to solve all the problems of living here. I got fence here, I got trees falling and.
Well, let's do something that's more interesting. So I'm sorry.
It's true.
Report from town council.
Yeah.
So I'll share two things and we'll get the quick one done with first. We approved Monday night the adoption sign for the neighborhood litter that we're gonna try to do, so that's fun and exciting. Less fun, but exciting. We had a church by Peebles, which is right across from the Vincentian baseball field, approach us and request a waiver to log. So they have a large parcel of woods. I think there's like 70 some trees. I think they have like
65,
65.
right?
I guess I rounded up.
Yeah.
But so they want to log the trees. They were asking us for a waiver. I guess there's some serious and legitimate safety concerns from the neighbors that they have these mammoth oaks falling into their property, onto their fences, close to their homes. The church can't afford it. They found a logger that is willing, or they found a forester that is willing to log some of the trees for the church. The forester could not provide us with a accurate count of what was living and what was dead. There is a very murky gray area of what he knows is living and what is dead, and if someone can actually profit from taking these trees down. We as council decided to obviously table this and ask them to get more info to us. So we will probably see this again at the next meeting. But in the event that this does end up getting logged, you guys would be a wonderful partner in planting trees back there.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the
Are
issue
you
is.
charging them then?
Well,
Do we get a?
I had a conversation with them. So the issue is that I don't believe that they have to come to us with a logging question. The ordinance says that you cannot log, if you're gonna cut these down, there is a 40%.
There's a percentage, yes.
There's a percentage that the ordinance currently says that you can, 40% of the trees, now I've lost my mind on what the ordinance actually says.
It's something along the lines of like, if it's above a certain percentage, then you need to request a waiver approved by town
Right.
council. If it's below, you do not.
That's exactly right. So there's 65 trees. And what he has to do is he has to discover that 20 of them are dead. And that's 13 trees. 13 out of 65 of these trees that they're gonna find 13 dead trees.
Yes.
So my thought was, they don't even have to go to council. They're gonna find, I mean, they'll give Joe Wall and John their answer that yes, 13 trees are dead. And so therefore, we're gonna meet your 40% rule, because 20% or don't even fall into the rule. So those trees are gonna come down. And I'm pretty convinced of that. Nobody's gonna say that those trees can't come down. There's 65 trees. They have already fallen on people's
A
property.
lot of them are dead.
A lot of them are dead. Those trees are gonna come down. It was an oh my gasp from Ellen Wright. It was a gasp from me. Oh my, but they're gonna come down. So what I said was, as I said, because he said, well, when they come down, they might just lay there and regeneration might start within 2 years. And I said, well, that may or may not be true, but could you give us access, the EAC access to replanting on that property? So we have a zero net. I mean, what do you think about that, Bernie?
Well, are they paying for the replanting?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how we
When
would
you-
do that, but I mean, are we paying for replanting? I mean, if we're
If
gonna
you're
try to
not-
plant 10,000 trees, there's 65 right there, or there's 50 or whatever.
Yeah, but those are mature trees. I mean, it would take you.
What species of tree are they that there's so many that are dead?
You say oak.
I heard oak,
Maple,
yeah,
maybe.
yeah.
You might have oak wilt going through there. When you log and you leave, part of the reason you leave the tops and things there is the smaller branches and the bark is where all of your nutrients are. That's why you leave the tops when you log and you take the logs out. And that brush also inhibits the deer and stuff from getting at the natural regeneration. In McCandless, that's not gonna work. If there's deer are gonna,
Yeah,
that's what-
anything, even if we plant
That's what we
anything
said,
there,
yeah.
we're gonna have to put wire around it. I mean, you can't grow anything here without wire around it,
No.
so. Or you get your deer fence, that movable deer fence, and you fence off that area.
Woods,
yeah.
But,
so,
from a forester's perspective, he just cutting the trees down and be god awful expensive to try to haul that to anywhere to get it cut into lumber.
yeah. And it sounds like this could be being done by this logger at a net loss. And.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting conundrum here.
Why do they need to get any permission to cut trees on their own property?
Because if it's over a certain percentage,
Over X% of the number of trees.
I didn't know that existed.
Yeah, there's an
Because
ordinance.
it's for a specific purpose of a commercial gain. Is that what it is on
I'm
the term
not
logging?
Sure,
no, I'm not sure.
because how many,
I bet there.
how many trees you have on on my 1 acre, well, now there's fewer of the big huge oaks, but you had like less than 50 trees because they're all big huge oaks. And if you have small trees, you have a couple hundred or 1,000.
Yes.
So like when the developers come in and they cut down all the trees, did they get permission to cut down all those trees?
I think that goes through the zoning, I think, and they're bound to certain, like a different set of rules.
Okay.
I think our deforestation problem is, whatever the rules are. I mean, I've been wanting to not necessarily go dive there, but we're clearly up against it everywhere between, development, building lots and then stuff like this.
No,
Yeah.
I'd have to see this property to really understand what's going on, but it sounds like you might have some oak wilt in there, which is just gonna eventually kill all because of the root transmission. And I don't know where the houses are that they're causing peril for houses.
no,
Yeah,
Yeah, the neighbors were there, like, they were,
What's the property owner?
it's, I
forget the name of the church.
It's not Alliance, it's, forgot my, agenda from that.
I think I have it in my.
It's the one, Bernie, whenever you go, you come down Peoples and it's at four-way. Right by that garage, it's right there, and there's a stream. Then you start going up the hill on the right, do you know?
It's Ascension Lutheran Church.
Yeah, it's right on the right-hand side, and they always have, it's right before Remington and on the left.
Here, I'll pull up the map of it here.
I'd appreciate that.
Give me one second.
Yeah. Would have listed,
Looks like Ascension.
It is. It's those woods right there.
Get me started,
Ascension's that little red circle with the cross, and then the woods right here.
isn't that
There's-
where the,
Home there, and homes here.
I mean. But they're talking about more than just the ones near the homes. They're talking about. Site.
Potentially.
Yeah, and I mean, the
I
past ones there,
don't-
like, we can't afford it. We, you know, but we have to do something.
It might be works well for me to go
Oh.
walk on if you can,
Yeah.
you can actually get me to where that is. I'm not,
Oh, wait.
Relating
I do
to
know where this is near my house. I drive by that every time.
So
saying,
the
yeah.
Infinite section,
Exactly.
baseball field is right there. Peebles Road is right here. The church is right off of it on the left, and then it's the woods behind it there.
I'm just trying to blank on where that church is.
Oh, I know where it is. Why don't you and I go together?
Here, I'll show you, Ken. It's that Hazlet right there.
I don't know street names.
Oh, well, so the cemetery, the,
Okay,
in the Memorial Cemetery is right there. And this is, you know, where, the Giant Eagle is.
there's actually a church in there.
There's a Giant Eagle, right here.
Yeah.
Oh, it's right up here. No, Nordstrom right here, McIntyre Square. And then it's right there. This is the intersection of Peoples, Babcock, and, yeah, it's just right down the road.
For whatever reason, I'm not relating to it. Okay, that's a different ball field. Okay, I'm thinking of different ball fields.
Yeah.
So it's down in that valley.
Mm,
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to walk that. So,
yeah, I mean, it's disconcerting because when you do look at green space around McCandless, this is like one of the very few that are left.
yeah, I know. And I just thought the number, it's gonna happen. I mean, there's, you know, they did table it and that was a smart thing to do. And that's, you know, Ellen said that, but I think they would have come, you know, you guys would have come to your own conclusion that to table that.
Yeah, yeah, no, that was going to be.
Yeah, right.
We need more
but it will,
Data, right?
data.
it's inevitable.
Before.
Let me know.
What's that gonna do for
Yeah.
like flooding in the area? Is that gonna make all those
20
backyards
minutes.
flood then?
Right.
That's not a,
Right, absolutely.
that'll give me a chance to look at, on the, county website to see where the property boundaries are and stuff.
Okay. Okay, good.
Is there any value in trying to get like an independent assessment of some kind? Like I know, you know, Arch from Northwood has been in here before. Like their organization's really good at going through and figuring out what can be done with trees rather than cutting them down to try to preserve them.
Yeah, I mean,
that
John
something we could
Smith
do?
said that they used to have an arborist, you know, on,
Mhm.
contract when he was at his last place.
Mhm.
So that notion of having, but I mean, Ken is an arborist, right? And, you know, and so, I mean, can you give an official, you know,
I
word
can
on
give you a
it?
pretty good handle on what can be done and what can't be done, and
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know how far their boundary goes, but
that's why I say I want to look at the,
Nick, do you think it's okay that we do that?
Yes,
that's
Okay.
essentially.
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, like I said,
I
this is-
would love to get,
If you can email me essentially.
yeah,
Sure.
I actually just
Yeah.
said I can,
Okay,
okay.
because then I can find it on the county
yeah.
map and I can see what their property is and where the issue
Yep.
is with the adjoining properties. So
It is in your inbox.
Okay, good. We'll take a walk on that, Ken. Anything else, Nick?
That looking forward to showing you guys our new land, so
Yay.
next month.
Okay,
So what, I missed that.
I'm looking forward to showing you guys our new land that we bought next.
the parking, it down at the site now,
Yeah.
walking up and around and then it's downhill
Yeah.
back to the car.
Yeah.
I'm lazy.
You're not lazy, you're smart, thinking
okay,
ahead.
topics for next month's meeting. I'm gonna put Bird, US Way, whatever the heck that is, Birdtown, PA, community. I'll put that back on. I'll see if I can get a, you know, a little presentation going there, something that will make that flow. Any other topics?
If you put the purple air monitor.
Yeah, oh, yeah, I'm sorry, that was on there too.
and
Yep,
just to
yep. air
start
quality.
thinking about, you know.
Okay. Purple air, absolutely.
She dropped the ball, I did, just for the record.
Okay.
She's busy too.
I know.
Anything else?
You too.
We'll
You two will-
update progress on junior EAC.
Okay, good. Thanks, Matt.
You two will get along.
Any other topics top of mind?
Yeah, I'll give a review of the rain garden, but
Yeah. Well, yeah, you're on there every time. Sustainability, deer management, rain garden, tree program on every time.
Not weed now.
Okay, so with that, anything else from anybody? Okay, can I have a motion to adjourn?
A motion to adjourn.
Second,
Second.
all in favor? Aye. Wonderful. Thank you, thank you.
So you've been in this with,